famous for its prawns. Hence this big guy here. But trust me, there's a whole lot more to this place.
Situated on the Richmond River in northern New South Wales, just a 2-hour drive south of Brisbane, the classic coastal holiday town of Ballina is often overlooked by travellers headed for nearby Byron Bay or Lennox Head. But it's every bit as beautiful and appealing as its well-known neighbours. And you'll find a wide range of quality accommodation without the crowds.
Wow. You know, there's a lot of great accommodation options on offer here in Ballina, but we got lucky with this place, Shorehaven on Hill Street. What a view. She's first class inside too.
I'm in Ballina with good mate Michael Starkey, who runs Frogley's Offshore, distributing some of Australia's top fishing brands. Fishing is a huge part of his life, so it was no surprise to be invited to fish offshore the following morning.
I was just about to say how magic it is to be out here this time of the morning, and bang, Michael's on.
Just taking it a bit easy on these lures, the semi-hards. They got fine hooks, so you can't go too hard on them.
Yep.
But yeah, the whales should be humping behind us, the sunrise, mate, you don't get much better than this, do you?
It's just magic. It is magic. The technique we're using here basically is drifting along and casting ahead of the drift, so the fish haven't had the boat over the top. We're only in 20 metres of water, and it's a classic technique for 20 metres or less because you want to present the lure to the fish before they know you're there. So it's really easy. You can do it out of just about any boat, and most people are using plastics and jig heads, but Michael's got something different that I use a lot too, known as a semi-hards vibe, and we're going to see that lure in a minute with a bit of luck.
Oh,
are you kidding me?
There's 2 metres under the boat.
That's fishing, I guess. Still, the location was good and we were feeling lucky.
Snapper. Oh, yes.
Phil, please. What's the reef like down there, mate?
It's pretty good.
Is it pretty clean?
Yeah, you don't need it. If you're worried about breaking line, you can kind of let him go a bit.
Yeah, right.
Oh, no!
It's the mojo today, mate. It's chewed me off from the corner there. I was taking it easy on him too. That was a good red. Oh.
So we said third time lucky.
I'll get this one.
Oh, you got that one. It's right, I'll put the rod out for you, Will.
You go.
You can have it. The bit about this is we put down a different lure. This is a little jig. So get that.
What do we got here, Michael? So you guys make a heap of jigs as well, right?
Yeah, we have a massive range of jigs, the largest in Australia actually. So from 1.5 gram to 400.
1.5 gram, and how much is that when you got on there?
That's a little 20 gram jig.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Sorry, actually it's a 10 gram jig. It's even smaller than that. Typically a jig-in's like 40 to 60 gram.
Yeah.
So it shows these little ones some heaps of fun too.
Yeah, unreal.
After the break, we hook up at the World War II wreck of the Limerick. From June to November each year, humpback whales migrate from Antarctica to the breeding grounds and warmer waters of the Great Barrier Reef. So whale watching opportunities abound in Ballina during that period. It's a real buzz seeing them, but we're here for the fishing, and it's time to change tactics.
We've just come out to what, are we 100 metres of water, Michael?
Yeah, a bit over. We've got a wreck called the Limerick out here off Ballina. That's pretty handy for some kings and other species occasionally.
Okay. So I've got a nice big piece of bait on a standard paternoster rig, and you've got a jig.
I've got a jig, yeah. I'm going to start off with a 200 grams, see how we go if we can get down. But it's a knife jig for kingfish. Got to move it quickly and keep it vertical. You don't want to drop back down. So it's a really aggressive form of fishing, but often produces fun results.
I'll drop it down and show us how you do it, mate.
Let's give it a crack. Whew, I'm done.
It's pretty hard work, isn't it?
It is.
Oh, I'm on. Woo. Oh,
There we go.
well, that jigging action that you're doing, mate, it's got to be done right, doesn't it?
Yeah, you don't want it to fall back down, so I'm timing the up strokes to the pump of the wire handle.
Okay.
So I'll just get this out of your road a bit. 100 metres doesn't sound like a long way, but it's a long way to the bottom to wind up, isn't it, Rob?
It is. It is. Come on there. Oh boy, I'm going to eat my words on this one. Still a nice fish though, look at that. We have every chance of getting bigger ones than this, but that's good fun, mate. Well, I think we'll let this guy go. We've got plenty to eat, so we'll pop him back in the water. Beautiful fish.
It looks like the move to the wreck was a good one.
Come on,
Hook him. Go, Rob.
this time. Yep. This is what we're talking about. Give yourself a bit of a workout. How's the water out here? Just beautiful and blue today. About a metre and a half mixed swell, but no wind.
Ballina's a beautiful spot because it's so close to the shelf. So it's not far from here out to the shelf, and there's a lot of fishing in between and a lot of reefs.
He's fought really hard, this fish, I mean, for a snapper. It's just because he's found hooked and we're pulling him up sort of half sideways, but I'll grab him and have a look. Just hooked him in the gill plate there, and that's testament to the sharpness of those gamma who hooked just straight through there. I mean, takes a fair bit of sharpness and strength to get through there. You know, when that's a bycatch, it's just testament to how good the area is. That's fantastic. All right, back you gonna go, Mr. Snapper.
100 metres below us is the wreck of the MV Limerick, a cargo ship which was torpedoed and sunk by a Japanese submarine in April 1943. Its whereabouts were officially unknown until 2013, when a few local anglers revealed the secret fishing spot they discovered on their sounders years before. As you can see, the wreck is a fish haven, with quite a few tackle-busting species below. Catching them is not so easy. You need to clear the wreck before you land anything here. And that can be tougher than it sounds.
Of course, being near a wreck, you want to win that first 10, 15 metres pretty quick. Ooh. I think I've got him off the wreck. That's the good news, but pretty good place you've got, mate.
Mate, it's really a fishing haven up here. It's got all sorts of variety. Fishing 20 metres for snapper, head trag even, pearlies, tum at 60 metres.
Yep.
Where it lines out at 80 metres for your pearly snapper still. Come out here, you got kings. And right now, we're pretty much the furthest spot where I've ever fished off Ballina.
Yep.
Apart from going out and catching marlin on the shelf, but this is your typical bottom fishing area.
Yeah.
This is the furthest out, and we're only 20 k's.
Unreal.
So everything's so close. The area is brilliant for this.
You're blessed, mate. I can see why you live here. Got some good fish on this rod. This is the Atomic Arrows offshore. It's the AAS 270X, so it's the heaviest one in the range. That's great for this sort of fishing. You see me use them a lot on, I mean, everything from jewfish up north to, you know, like tackle sports fishing for smaller marlin and tuna and stuff, and then, of course, bottom bashing on the reef like this. Fantastic outfit. There we go. Boom. Tell us a bit about this guy, mate.
Hammerjack, that's a nice little table on there, but they fight so hard, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
As you just found out, I reckon they fight harder than kingies. They're great fish.
They do. They
And
do.
they get huge too. The 40-kilogram jobs are hard work.
You've got them that big here?
Yeah,
Oh.
I've got, not here, but they catch over the other side of the coast and stuff. But here, that's quite a small one. You get to get them a bit bigger, 1.20 sort of size.
Those big ones would be around, but I reckon most of them would get around the wreck with me.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't stop them very often, especially here at the Limerick.
And table-wise?
Beautiful.
Yep.
Yeah, people love them.
There we go.
The fishing was just starting to turn on. Then in an instant, the wind blew up and the weather was going to get nasty very quickly. Time for a captain's call.
Rob, I think it's about time we head in, eh?
Yeah, that breeze has picked up a bit. Now, mate, you're just to quickly, while I've got you before we head in, you're the skipper, so you're the main one responsible for people on the boat. Just give us a quick overview of what you do, mate.
Obviously, the boat's got to be safe, so safety gear, life jackets are important.
Yep.
And I also carry an EPIRB, which is a personal one, especially if I'm by myself. So if anything does happen, I separate from the boat.
Yep.
I'm still totally safe. I touch to the jacket. Weather,
Yep.
always got to check the weather. We're in a bar area, so weather makes a big difference, and you're not just the wind, it's the swell as well you got to think about in our areas. And as forecast today, this wind's starting to come up, and we should head in before it gets too strong and gets gnarly out here.
That's good advice, mate, and really happy to see you wearing the life jackets too, mate. You don't know when you might hit a whale or a shipping container or a freak wave. You can end up in the water just like that, and for many other reasons, so it's good to see you wearing them, mate.
Thanks, mate. Well, let's get in.
Absolutely.
Well, fishing's done for the day, but even when it's blowing a gale here in Ballina, there's something happening on the water. After the break, we head up the Richmond River in search of bass. As you head inland on the mighty Richmond River, you pass countless sugarcane plantations and quaint country towns. Like Coracai, my meeting place for a morning bass fishing session with local fisho Joe Allen.
So we're about roughly 50k upstream of Ballina on the Richmond River here. Huge system, miles of river to explore. Joey, bit of a strategy in a system like this. I mean, it could be overwhelming. It's massive.
Yeah, definitely. And the biggest thing that determines whether we're catching fish on it here is the tide. And the tide's been running in here for a little while now, so we've got good water up on this bank. You know, fresh water moving up, which makes the prawns and the little bait fish and all that kind of move up into the shallows, and that's where we're trying to catch these bass.
Bass fishing generally requires good casting skills in often difficult terrain. Snags are to be expected, along with the odd lost lure. But the rewards are worth it, and your casting will only benefit from the extra practice.
Okay, if you're not hooking a couple of trees here, you're not going hard
That's
enough,
right.
are you?
Exactly right, mate. You've got to be in the thick of it to be able to catch them. If you were just casting out here into the open water, the chances of catching a fish are, you know, a lot less than being right up there in the thick of it.
The skill and the challenge is all. That's the fun bit, isn't it?
Absolutely. Like, even when you're not catching, the fun part is trying to get your lure as close in as possible to where they're going to live, which is in the snags there. And we've done plenty of that today. Some maybe a little bit higher than, you know, should have been. Oh, was that another bite? I don't know. But we've had a few bites. Like, that's the thing. It's not always just about catching. We've probably had, you know, 4 or 5 bites in that, you know, kilometre or so stretch through there. And you're not always going to catch, but there you go.
You can get them on cue though. Look at that. And that's what it's like. You just got to keep moving along. They're not schooled up, but there's one here and there. And if you stick at it, you're going to get a nice one like this. I might grab that net. And here we go. And it's that surprise factor, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's not really even a big one for here, is it? It's probably.
No, he's only a little fella. He's probably only about 30 odd centimetres. They still hit a lure really hard, and they're not bass aren't the hardest fighting fish out there.
Yeah.
But the reason people love them is because you can catch them on a multiple of techniques. And they're very aggressive, so even a little fella like that still banged that.
Yeah.
Didn't pull a lot of string afterwards, but a big one, they really will pull the drag.
And they're a wild fish. They migrate, you know, hundreds of kilometres upstream, up into the hills, right into the fresh water.
Yep. And that's where this river starts, right up in the New South Wales-Queensland border.
And I'll tell you what a place to do it. Beautiful river up here in the north of New South Wales. Oh, hundreds of kilometres of river to explore.
I would say we're in God's country, but I'm biased because I live here. You know? So lots of people love to come to this region for a multitude of different activities. Bass fishing is just one of them, and a pretty cool part of the world here.
Oh mate, it's spectacular. Bass will take lots of different lures, but I've got a little favourite on here. This is the Atomic Crank 38, very famous brim lure, but it will catch a lot of other species, including, of course, bass here. Bib on the middle, gets down, you know, about 3 feet on a retrieve, a little bit deeper on a troll, but a great little lure.
Mine's a Hards Vibe, Atomic Hards Vibe 60. It's got a rattle in it. Some people like to go silent. This one's got a rattle in it. This one will actually sink by itself, and it'll use that front section, that front flat section there to vibrate, whereas yours has got a bib on it. When you pull that through the water, that's going to cause it to go down. So mine's going to sink by itself, then vibrate all the way back.
Finally, I got one on, and it was right up the back of a really tricky spot. So my casting is getting better as I come out of the COVID slumber. They migrate so far, so they have to be fit. And this system's not stocked at all with bass like the impoundments. That's just beautiful, isn't it?
Keep him up, keep him up.
Here we go. Oh, fantastic. You know, for them to come out and smack that lure, you know, at a structure like that and surprise you, you know, one in that territory is worth about 10 on the vibe in the deep water, I reckon. Ah, beautiful. He's a little bit bigger, that one. And you saw the fight, so I don't know, what's the guesstimates on the length of that one?
Mate, he's probably early 30s, maybe about 34 centimetres.
You got a 40 on light tackle, and you've got a real fight ahead of you, haven't you?
Definitely.
That's a beautiful fish. There's a little lure we've been talking about. That's good fun, eh?
Yeah, great fun. That's why people come and do it.
Yeah, what a great day on the river, eh?
Yep.
Unreal. Let's get him back.
After the break, Ballina's beautiful beaches. It's not fishing, but seriously, how good is this? Foiling is a unique new style of surfing that's just starting to take off around the world. This is Adam Bennett's, one of our best foilers, showing us how it's done. This region is well known for its beautiful beaches. Ballina's South Beach is open to four-wheel drive, and the only way onto it is by barge. So it's a real adventure. It's also a great beach for fishing. One of the best baits for beach fishing is beach worms. And fortunately for me, Michael's dad Paul is one of those skilled characters that can catch these amazing creatures.
Catching bait's half the fun, and when it comes to beach worming, there's a real art to it. We've got the burley here. This is the easy bit. You wait for the water to run back, you get that smell running down the beach, and you see a little part. Now that's a pippy, that's something different. But when the worm pops his head up, he makes a V in the water. This is the hard bit. Oh, you're kidding me. And then you got to do it in a swift motion, otherwise they grip and you break it, right?
They'll grip and you'll break it, yeah.
That's sensational, mate. And you were saying that they can coil up?
They'll elongate to nearly double that length as they get their head out, so that's how they go down really quick.
Right. So any movement, like obviously they're wary of birds or fish or...
Any pressure on the sand around it, they can come up at an angle like this. They can be anywhere. That one could have moved over to here.
Yeah, right.
You wouldn't know, but any pressure on the sand around him, he'll go down.
And you like me on this side here, don't you? You don't want me on that side.
I'm right-handed.
Yeah, but there's another reason though, right?
Yeah.
You don't want me to scare him, right?
That's right. Anyone, if we're worming in sort of a 10-metre area here,
Yeah.
if you've got dogs or kids running in front of you, they're down.
Yeah, okay.
So try to keep your kids and dogs behind you.
We're collecting a pile of worms, and hopefully we'll get some time to cast them in the gutters. Have a look at the gutters. Oh, it's paradise.
Good gutters and good bait normally leads to good fish.
Oh, that's a nice whiting, Michael. Well done, mate. That's a thumper.
That is a good little beach whiting.
Yeah. Fresh worms. Oh, it's quite interesting. We've covered about 500 metres and we've finally found one. And no, mate, there's nothing better than them if you want a bit of fresh tucker on the beach.
Mate, they are my favourite fish. I get a lot of different fish, but getting half a dozen of these and having a feed for the family is brilliant.
Yeah. Oh, mate, and tell me, look, the rig, one of your favourite hooks that you use, and you're a bit of a hook guru, mate.
Yeah,
Your favourite one, please, and I've got one on here.
Yeah, so it's a worm black. It's so fine. You just get that little bites, and in the surf, because there's so much movement, it's really hard to feel the bites. So you need the hook to do the work for you.
Yeah.
So worm black smashes it.
I couldn't agree with you more. Nice fine gauge hook like that, beautiful sharpness on it, but the fine gauge just goes in easy, really easy.
We've seen some great fishing options in and around Ballina, and we haven't even tried the estuary. With some beachworms still in the bait bucket, there was time for just a couple more casts.
Mate, how important is it to a place like Ballina, to a regional area, to have a company like yours here?
It's a few, we're not big by any means, but definitely in regional areas it helps. Like we've got 15 staff, so that's 15 jobs for a local area. And it's really good for the economy, good for the areas. We're in a fishing base, so you don't have to be in a city to run wholesale or run any sort of business. There's still population bases in regional New South Wales or regional Australia that can do these sort of things.
That's fantastic, and some good tackle testing options right in your backyard.
A great excuse to keep fishing.
Oh, hang on,
We might be here a bit longer yet. We'll see you again next time.
This has got a double up.
Hooker.